And the KOF 15 news just continues to get all the more interesting. So, as I'm sure most, if not all of you know, Rufalmonger did an interview with SNK wherein the company confirmed that King of Fighters 15 is definitely getting more characters. And not long after that, specifically on June 12th, SNK posted this. Special DLC character development confirmed. Details will be announced at EVO 2024. Stay tuned. Again, I gotta give credit to SNK yet again. Thank you for saying something. Because for me personally, the future of KOF 15, Season 3, getting more updates, getting more whatever, I really didn't care that much about that. I still enjoy the game, still play it, but I didn't care about any of that because SNK just wasn't saying anything. And on top of that, City of the Wolves was getting the big push, and appropriately so. It's SNK's brand new premier product, and at least in my opinion, personally, between KOF 15 and City of the Wolves, the latter is the more ambitious product. I say that because, at least in terms of like really trying to get that casual audience, I feel in this case they are really trying their utmost to do that. Especially seeing that they are looking to rev up the offline single player experience, which I am still looking forward to seeing how they approach that. Did see a mini game in the Summer Game Fest trailer, so nice little sign of things to come. So once again, credit to SNK for saying something. Now let's get into the deeper stuff here. Because a lot of people have looked at this particular announcement from SNK and also have taken cue from something that SNK said in their interview with Rufalmonger, and people have been basically piecing together what this character announcement is going to be. Like for instance, some people think that there is not going to be a KOF Season 3, just a few more characters, which is pretty much what SNK had said to Rufalmonger in terms of the game getting more characters. They mentioned just a few more characters. Nothing really about a season or anything like that. Which is funny, because I remember I had criticized SNK for the fact that at the Summer Game Fest, why did they not like throw in just a little announcement at the end or even in the beginning of their presentation with City of the Wolves, like Season 3 incoming or KOF is not dead or something like that. Don't use KOF is not dead. I've seen some people speculating that it's just going to be one character because if you look at the image, it says special DLC character, but it says character development. Like I know they just mentioned character, but I don't think it's just one character. All of this hype and everything for one character, like even if it's like the most unexpected guest character from Capcom, like Roy Bromwell or something, that's not cool. It's got to be more than just one character. I don't think it's just a single character. Again, they said a few more characters in the freaking interview with Rufalmonger, so I don't see that being the thing. The word special has been a point of interest with people discussing this. And what could be special about KOF 15 as far as characters are concerned? Most speculate a guest character. And seeing what had happened with Street Fighter 6's Season 2 announcement, some people think that we will be seeing somebody from Street Fighter in King of Fighters 15. What does Capcom have to say about that? Well, that brings us over here. Developers talk about how Terry and Mai joined Street Fighter 6 and the possibility of future guest representation in SNK titles. We're gonna focus more on that latter point. If we scroll down, they address it here. So Famitsu, who is conducting this interview, asks, so are we going to see the reverse, with Capcom characters added to one of SNK's games in the near future? Nakayama responds, they cheerfully lent their characters out to us for this collaboration. We're still looking over our options, so I cannot say anything for sure, but I think the possibility is definitely there. Masamoto chimes in by saying, for a more personal anecdote, when we did the motion capture and voice recordings for Terry, some SNK staff actually came as well. We spent a full day discussing the subject of what actually is the Rising Tackle. Both Capcom and SNK are situated in the Kansai region and we always get along very well. Very good to hear. Nakayama, even though this collaboration was asked from our side, they were very cooperative in the development of it. The rest of this is just talking more about why they picked Terry and Mai. But far as the point that we want to address here, Capcom seems pretty cool with the idea of having some of their characters be in an SNK fighting game title. They seem pretty cool about it. Granted, of course, nothing was set in stone. They seem pretty cool about it. What does the SNK camp say? Let's go over here. Noisy Pixel. Fatal Fury City of the Wolves producer thinks it's a great time for crossover characters. SNK is no stranger to crossover events with other titles. Of course, they're talking about Baiken and Gong Sung Lee from Guilty Gear and Honor of Kings respectively. With the upcoming release of Fatal Fury City of the Wolves, I was curious if the team would host more collaborations in their roster with other fighters. You see, while Samurai Showdown had crossover characters, the King of Fighters 15 seemed to stick close to the SNK brand with competing fighters focused on their fighting IPs. During playdays, I was able to ask Fatal Fury City of the Wolves producer Yasuki Oda if there were plans to feature crossover fighters in Fatal Fury City of the Wolves. Oda-san shared, "We don't have anything to announce right now, but there are definitely some possibilities there." He added, "Personally, I was able to work on a few collaborations with Samurai Showdown, which had several surprises that players seemed to have fun with. However, with King of Fighters 15, we were mostly focused on our own IPs at the time. That said, I think it's a great time to start working on more collaborations with other characters." So, SNK sounds like they're cool with it too. Going back to the interview that I had cited in my video where I was talking about how excited I was for the new Fatal Fury, this same topic was brought up to Oda, who was also in this interview, and he basically gave a similar answer when talking about having characters from outside the franchise coming in. As I'm sure you're thinking, had Street Fighter 6 not revealed or gone with this plan to put 2 Fatal Fury characters in Season 2 of a mainline Street Fighter game, this wouldn't hit as hard. All this talk about crossover characters, it wouldn't be as exciting. But seeing that happened, it's kind of exciting. Now this goes back to the question at hand in the title of this video. Which game is getting some Street Fighter / Capcom characters? Is it KOF 15? Is it City of the Wolves? Could it possibly be both? That's kind of wild. I've never really entertained the idea or really seen anybody else entertain the idea of it being both. Depending on what happens and depending on how they approach it, having them in both games I would probably be okay with, but I can still acquiesce to the fact that that might be a little too much. A little too much. Now we've gone over some excerpts of what the Capcom camp and what the SNK camp has said about it. Going over what we've said, KOF 15 seems like the more likely choice, because of course Oda had mentioned that they were focusing on those IPs, but now is a good time to start crossing over. And going back to that whole special thing with that announcement, KOF 15 being the first mainline KOF game to have a guest character, that's definitely special. Granted, of course, it's going to be the second major KOF fighting game overall to have a guest character, because the first is obviously Makoto Mizuguchi in Maximum Impact. Yeah, if that happens for KOF 15, that's definitely something special. I know some people were hoping for like a full season, but it is worth noting they did say a few characters. And if you look at the seasons that we've had in King of Fighters 15 thus far, I wouldn't call any of those a few characters. This might be disappointing to some people because it lessens the chance of one of their favorites getting in, but I do think we are going to get some more like KOF characters. I just think the ones that are going to be hyped up the most and may even probably be the first ones to come out are going to be these special characters. If it turns out we're getting a guest character in City of the Wolves from Capcom, I think that would be perfect, especially if it's a Street Fighter character. I'm pretty sure most of you know or probably seen someone else bring up this fact, but both of these franchises, Street Fighter and Fatal Fury, they were created by the same person. I mean, that right there, it kind of writes itself. Seeing what I've seen from like various bits of gameplay footage courtesy of people that have gotten a chance to try City of the Wolves, I could definitely see some Street Fighter characters fitting pretty well with that gameplay. And now that I mentioned gameplay, before it slips my mind, while I am excited about like a crossover as such, whether it be KOF 15 or City of the Wolves, the one thing that I'm concerned about is, for me personally, I'm not hyped to see Ryu, Chun-Li, or Ken in either one of these games. maybe Chun, maybe Ken, because it's just, again, it's the same thing as Terry and Mai. I can totally get if they pick them, and I get the rationale. That's the big three of Street Fighter. Like those three, number one, number two, number three, most recognizable characters in the franchise. But those three being the choices, if they are them, doesn't really get me all that excited in and of itself. But with that being said, the silver lining there would be, we will be playing them, but just in the City of the Wolves art style, the City of the Wolves gameplay, the KOF 15 art style, the KOF 15 gameplay. And while you could argue that all three of these games do share some things, obviously, they are vastly different. Because it kind of makes me wince when I've seen people that say they're excited to play Terry in this game, and it's like, well, if you want to play Terry, go play Fatal Fury, go play KOF, go play Fighting X Layer, go play Smash. It's like, why can't they enjoy some Terry in Street Fighter 6? None of those games have Drive Rush, because I'm still interested and frightened to see what a freaking Drive Rush freaking Burning Knuckle is gonna be like. That freaking frightens me, man. But regardless, the point I'm trying to make is I can at least see some silver lining, and at least if I can look past just those particular picks themselves, if they are indeed gonna get picked, at least they're gonna be playing in a somewhat different way in these other games, and that is always pretty cool to see. Like, it might be kind of cool seeing Ryu, Chun-Li, and Ken doing like advanced cancels and max mode cancels and combos that they couldn't do in their own game, and even tactics, you know. We've seen this before, and like, of course, one of the big reasons why I'm pretty sure many people, even if they're slightly critical of all this like I might be, they're happy because, again, this could be signaling the arrival of a CVS 3. Obviously, everybody is not going to be on the same page, but for the most part, I'm pretty sure when that time comes, a lot of people will say that all of this cross promotion was definitely worth it, because that's going to be quite a day if and when CVS 3 gets announced. But with that being said, let me rewind a little bit, thinking too much about the future. Ryu, Chun-Li, Ken, pretty easy picks as far as like cross promotion. You want to pick some of the most recognizable, some of the most marketable characters for a crossover, that's cool. But at the same time, I'm not necessarily hyped for them. Again, as I mentioned in my video about characters that I wanted and didn't want in City of the Wolves, I think Alex would be a tremendous pick for either game, to be honest. A chunk of people tend to forget Alex did make his way into one of these big Capcom versus crossovers in my favorite Capcom versus game, Tatsunoko vs. Capcom, and he was so much fun in that game. You know, City of the Wolves or King of Fighters 15, I think Alex would be tremendous. Another character I'm thinking that would be a good fit for either game that's actually popular and marketable, what about Sakura? Now, on one hand, Sakura has a lot of fans. And I'm not just talking about just fighting game fans, Street Fighter fans, no. People love them some Sakura. Ever since I started going to conventions, I have not gone to one convention where I haven't seen at least 3 Sakura cosplayers. The only sour side of that might be people who will say stuff like, oh my god, you put her as a guest character in this game, but you couldn't have brought her into freaking Street Fighter 6 Season 2. What's wrong with y'all? And you know what? I can sympathize with that to a degree. Like me, I'm the type of person where it's like, I'm just happy to see the character. Like, in fact, that kinda sorta happened recently, and I'm pretty sure there's another character that this applies to, but I'm just thinking of the first one that popped in my head. Look at Baiken. Baiken made her guest appearance in Samurai Showdown before she made her return to Strive. Sakura could very well do the same exact thing. Now, obviously, there's gonna be people out there that are gonna want Sakura in Street Fighter 6 before this other game. Some people are probably gonna be like, I'm just gonna buy it because Sakura, but I'm just saying, Sakura is a draw too. Sakura can draw some attention and some money in this case, since everybody always talks about the marketing aspect when it comes to picking these characters, and I mean, I get why. But yeah, I think Sakura is a lot more of an exciting pick that's also recognizable to lots of people as compared to, like, you know, the typical Ryu, Chun-Li, and Ken. I have a slight fear inside of me, just a little bit, even though I've grown to like this character. Part of me, like a very small part of me, suspects that Luke might also get the push. On one hand, I gotta give Capcom credit for really trying to push this kid. I really give him credit. I prefer the way Capcom has approached trying to push Luke as opposed to the way SNK tried to push Shun'ei. Like 15, far as like Shun'ei's presentation, was a lot better. We should have had that at KOF 14. But Capcom threw Luke into Street Fighter V, told us straight up that this kid is going to be the future of Street Fighter going forward, and they kept pushing him and they kept pushing him. I would not be surprised if he's the one that they pick. Do I necessarily want him, even though I've warmed up to him a little bit more in Street Fighter 6? No. Even though I can appreciate Capcom trying to push Luke, at the same time, for those of you that are wrestling fans, it kind of reminds me a little bit of pre-Tribal Chief Roman Reigns. They pushed him, and people got more and more tired of him. Until, of course, at least in the case of Roman Reigns, there was a character flip. I don't exactly know what Capcom can do with Luke in that aspect, but I rest my case. Again, I've warmed up to Luke in Street Fighter 6 more so. I did not like his Street Fighter 5 design all that much, but I just hope it's not him, but I just have this tiny suspicion that they might do it. They just might keep the big Luke push going. Please don't, Capcom, please don't do that. And I know that the likes of Makoto and Dudley are heavily missed since it's been a minute since we've seen them, but I will be shocked if any Street Fighter 3 characters are chosen, but at the same time, I also feel like that's like a perfect storm, more so in the case of Fatal Fury City of the Wolves, because Street Fighter 3 Third Strike and Garo Mark of the Wolves, both of these games have the same type of admiration from the general audience. Like, I've heard people call Garo Mark of the Wolves the Third Strike of SNK many times, and I totally get it. I do, but I would be shocked if it's any one of them that gets picked. But yeah, I'm kind of stuck in the middle on this one. I really don't have a prediction because I could see it going either way. And honestly, I don't really have a preference either. Like, it depends on what character is picked and which game they're in, honestly. But I can definitely see this going either way. If you made me pick between which one I thought was gonna get the character, I guess I'm leaning more towards KOF 15 because of this whole special thing. Like, I know it's just one word, but compared to most other announcements for KOF 15 concerning new characters or content, I don't think they've quite marketed or at least worded their announcements like this before. At the same time, I do still think there's a high possibility that Fatal Fury City of the Wolves could be the one getting the guest character. Like, for me, I really feel like it can go either way, but I guess I'm leaning more towards KOF 15 in this case. But yeah, that's all I got for this one. Let me know what you all think in the comments. Which game do you think is getting that Street Fighter Capcom guest character? Is it City of the Wolves? Is it KOF 15? Is it both? Is it by chance none of them? Like, I know there's a variety of different opinions out there. Let me know in the comments, and until next time, I am the Chris Lotus, signing off. You all take care of yourselves, be safe out there, be cool to each other, and stay cool by staying hydrated in the heat. See ya.